Hey everyone, welcome back to Al's Mustang Garage. Today we're still in the process of doing our transmission conversion on this 67 Mustang Coupe. Pulled the C4 automatic out and putting the 4-speed top loader in. So today we're just kind of continuing on that project, but we're just gonna do a separate video on how to do the speedometer cable. So when you're doing these conversions, you do have to get a new cable. It's just not as long as, or the 4-speed is longer than the C4. And so if you try to run this to the other side of the tail shaft, because your speedometer gear goes in on the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side like the C4, this is just not long enough. So we're gonna pull this out. Obviously you already pulled it out to remove your C4, but the only thing you're gonna have to do from underneath is remove this retaining clip right here. And then that will make your cable loose, and the rest of it can be done from inside the car, and we'll undo it from the back of the cluster and then pull this whole cable out and install our new cable. Okay, time for a speedometer cable. Obviously if you're doing a conversion, the port for the speedometer cable is on the right hand side, passenger side, instead of the left hand side, driver side on a C4. So we have a new cable that's longer. We got this cable at a good friend's, Andy's Classic Mustangs, Mustang Andy, out of Spokane, Washington. Now he has dealt with a lot of Scott Drake stuff, and he kind of writes on the bag, he says you need to check the cable drive length, because some he's encountered that are too long and they bottom out on the instrument cluster end and actually damages the cluster, so you gotta watch out for those. Okay, so this is what I was trying to tell you about with the speedometer cables. And Mustang Andy warned me about this. This cable here on the right is the original cable. The cable on the left is the new reproduction cable, and it's just a little bit longer. So what's happening is when I put it in, it's bottoming out in the instrument cluster, and so it's bottoming out so bad that I can't get the thread started on the nut. And if I try to like force it, I could probably get it to work, but what's going to happen is I'm going to damage the back side of that speedo drive inside your instrument cluster. And so it's just that little bit, it's just enough to really throw it off. And you want to take your time with this. You got to watch out. If you're getting these reproduction cables, you know, they're not going to be perfect, and you got to watch out for weird stuff like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a small die grinder that we use for you know, metal work and stuff like that, and we're going to cut the end of that off, and we're going to make it shorter, and we're going to make this cable work. Okay, I just got done cutting our speedometer cable. This is how much I cut off. So not a whole lot. It's always easier to take more off than to put more back on. So what I did was just I kind of figured out how much I needed to cut off. I clamped it with vice grips, and then using my die grinder, just this very small, very thin die grinder, and you know, I had in the vice grips poking out just the amount that I wanted to cut off, and then used my die grinder to cut it off, and then took it over to my my bench grinder and kind of ground it nice and smooth, so that way it's that way the end is nice and square again. So that's what I did, and this should work. We're going to put this in the car and see how she does. Okay, so our speedometer cable is going to feed through that port in the firewall right above the upper clutch rod there. And so we're going to feed that through. The new cable does have a new grommet, and we'll feed it, route it up to the instrument cluster, and then feed the other end down into the engine bay. Okay, while this master cylinder is out of our way, just going to give you a good look at your new speedometer cable now that we've fed it through the firewall. This cable does come with a new grommet, so it's going to push right into that slot, just like that. And now you can feed your cable down. You're going to go on the driver's side of your steering column here and go down, feed it down to your transmission. Okay, just so you guys know, it's going to be like way easier to actually just take the screws off the instrument cluster and just pull the cluster out. So we're going to take off 1, 2, 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 screws. Okay, so with all the screws out, like, yeah, these things just pop right out. And you don't need to like remove it, you just need to be able to pop it out, just so you can access the speedometer, which is right there. Just to kind of give you a visual on that cable going into the back of the Speedo. Now I should be able to get these threads started. Wow, that was way easier. See, before I couldn't even get the threads to start on that. It was bottoming out. And so if you just kind of force it on and then thread it all the way, which you're going like another ½ inch or so on your threads, you're pushing that cable in the back of the cluster, and you're going to do damage there. So thanks to Mustang Andy and the team up there in Spokane, they kind of saved my bacon. I would have had to learn that one the hard way. So I'm going to wrench on this here and snug her down, and then we can reinstall our instrument cluster. Three-quarter-inch wrench just snugs that up, and we can get this back into place. Okay, so it looks like I have the right idea by coming across the top of the transmission with the speedometer cable, but it looks like this is not correct. I mean, that's going to be, coming down to this clip for an automatic, but we're going to pull it out of this clip and go straight across the bell housing, and then maybe we can add a clip over here somewhere to kind of keep it tied in. But that is essentially almost correct. Okay, so now that we've determined the right gear teeth for our speedometer driven gear, we can now install it on our cable. So it should go on, should be able to turn nice and freely. You can also get your clips from National Parts Depot as well. And we're just going to install the clip. Should just retain like that, turn freely, and shouldn't come off. So now we can insert this here into the transmission. Like so. have your little retainer there, and we need to get our retainer bolt and just kind of snug that up, and that will finish your speedometer cable installation.